This is question number 3 from our lesson on measurement practice. So this question says, calculate the volume of the following shape. And then what I see is an unusual shape, right, that seems to have a hole in the middle. There's lots of tick marks which show that we have sides that are equal to others, and we're going to try to see if we can figure out how to do the volume here. If I take a look at all of the shapes that we have for doing volume, I think the one that most closely resembles what we have is a rectangular prism. This looks like a large rectangular prism with a smaller rectangular prism that has been cut out of the middle, right? So this is a big rectangular prism, and we're taking away a smaller rectangular prism on the inside. So I like to write that down to try to remind me what I'm doing. So we're going to do the big rectangular prism, and we're going to remove or deduct the smaller rectangular prism. So we are going to end up finding the volume of the large rectangular prism, and then we will try to find the volume of the small rectangular prism, and then we will subtract the two. So let's start with the large rectangular prism. So I think we're just going to call that one big. We'll call the big RP. There we go. So sometimes I like to draw myself a picture of what that shape looks like. So it is a rectangular prism. Looks a little bit like that. Okay. On the bottom, I see that it is 50 meters. And then the width here is 15 meters. We'll start with that. We'll talk about that 10 in a minute. So when I look at the volume of a rectangular prism, it is base times height times length. The base is going this way, the height is going that way, the length is going that way. So I am just going to label those on there. So I have base, height, and length. So I have base, height, and length. And my volume is just base times height times length. Now, I've got the base, we've got the length. There has to be a way for us to tell the height. I see the tick marks. Anything that has a single tick mark on it is going to be the same length. So if this side is 50, this side over here is also going to be 50 because of that tick mark, meaning this part here is 50. So I now know my base, my height, and my length. So the volume is going to be 50 times 50 times 15. All right, we're going to multiply those together. So 50 times 50 times 15 is 37,500. All of those were meters, and I multiplied 3 of them together, so that would be meters cubed. So that is the volume of the large rectangular prism, so the big one, if I did the whole thing without the hole in the middle. Then what we want to do is try to see if we can find the volume of the hole in the middle. So that is the small rectangular prism. So I'm going to draw a picture of that just so it'll help me label. Okay, looking at the smaller hole that I have, I notice that the width of this object going this way is the same. So whether we're on the inside hole or the outside of the shape, this should be 15. But the length and the height, or the base and the height, are going to be different. They're not going to be 50. So I do notice that this whole side is 50, and there's a little marking here that shows that this distance here is 10. So there would be 10 meters on this side of the hole and 10 meters on that side of the hole, meaning that this remaining side should be 50 minus 10 from the one side and then minus 10 from the other. So I would do 50 minus 10 minus 10, which is 30. So this side here should be 30. And then because this has 2 tick marks and this has 2 tick marks, it means that the height here is also the same size, so it's going to be 30. Okay, so volume is still a rectangular prism, so it is base times height times length. My base is 30. My height is 30. And our length is 15. Okay, so on my calculator, I'm going to do 30 times 30 times 15, and I get 13,500. And that's going to be meters, and it is volume. We multiplied 3 things together that had meters, so that is going to be meters cubed. Okay, so we have the big rectangular prism. We found the smaller one that's the hole in the middle. So to get our total, we are going to take the big rectangular prism and we are going to remove the small one. So we're going to subtract. So I'm going to do 37,500, take away 13,500. So 37,500 take away 13,500 is 24,000. And that should be meters, and it should be cubed. So I'm going to finish off with just a little therefore. Since we have multiple calculations, I'm going to say the volume is 24,000 meters cubed. And that's it for this question.